loads of people on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and she's here doing this. Natalie, I'm trying to be professional here, coach here. There we go. You are actually live now on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Hello, everyone. Welcome to your weekly lunch and learn, or lunch and have a crack, or lunch and cry. A bit of banter with the Next Step lads. I'm here, Johnny Landell's I'm not co-founder. I am the founder of Next Step Nutrition. And I'm here with Sean. Sean, welcome, mate.
Hey, you all right?
Yeah, how's your Friday going?
Yeah, not too bad. I slept in today. Needed it.
Mate, you had a wedding last night, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a wedding. Yeah, I've had weddings all week.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. Got another one tonight.
Good, mate. Yeah, I mean, do your wives know that you're getting married several times in a week, or
they're in on it? They organise it all.
Yeah. What are you, a Mormon or something?
Is that what they do? I don't know if that's what they do, is it?
I don't know if it's them or someone else, but
yeah,
maybe. But for those of people who don't know that we're joking, Sean is a wedding singer. Not like Adam Sandler. He's a bit better than that.
Yeah.
But that's your role alongside coaching with Next Step Nutrition. So if at any point, guys, you have a question, we can bring it up like this. You don't have to give StreamYard your permission if you don't want to. It'll just come up as a random person. And that is about it. To be fair, that's as far as it goes. So please feel free to leave a comment if you're here watching live. Ask a question about anything. No such thing as a stupid question, because we were all beginners in this field once, and nutrition and fitness is a place where there is a lot of shit thrown around. So if you want to ask a question, then please do. You know, I got a question at cricket training last night. A lad came up and he's a bit new to the club. He's not signed on yet. He's plays for someone else, but he's coming down a few times because one of his mates is in the club. And he comes up to me and he's like, "You're the nutrition bloke, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool. Can I ask you a question?" Yeah, mate, go ahead. And he's like, "Right, I've seen this thing about getting ripped fast." And I was like, "Okay." And he was like, "It's about mixing coffee and lemon together with water." And I was like, "Right." And he's like, "Does that work?" I was like, "For what?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "For getting ripped." And I was like, No.
I shouldn't laugh. I feel bad for him.
No, and that's what I said. Look, don't feel stupid about it, because I've fallen for shit like that. But, I used to put butter in my coffee, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, mate. People draw a lot of logical fallacies or infallacies, whatever you want to call it, where they're like, oh well, if coffee has some small improvements in your metabolism, and if lemon and lemon and water, you just hear, don't you, like lemon in water like flushes toxins or whatever, like people then just therefore X equals Y, and it's scary really what happens. It's scary what goes on.
Yeah, man. It is scary what people. I mean, the thing is, when people say that kind of thing to me, I think to myself, like, what's their? Why are they asking that? Like, instead of thinking I need to be doing this, or I should be doing this, like they think, right, what they're in that stage of where they're kind of like desperate almost, isn't it? It's like, well, they've clearly tried things before and it's not worked, and then they've gone, oh, this maybe this will work. Maybe this magic elixir will bring me the results that I really want without doing the work generally. They're at that stage, aren't they? Like that's what I try and think, rather than thinking, well, no, idiot. Like, you have to kind of like put your coaching hat on, put your human hat on, and say, well, why are they asking me that question? They must be struggling.
Yeah. Like I said to him, what are you trying to do? And he's like, oh, it's just I've got a holiday coming up and I want to look a bit leaner, and it's in sort of X amount of time. And I was like, well, if you want faster progress and you want faster progress for a temporary time period, which is what a lot of people do for going on a holiday, like I don't begrudge them that. Like I'd probably do a similar thing now. Like, okay, I'll just do a bit of a mini cut maybe before going on holiday, and then get back and then just live a normal life again. I was like, just eat less. Like I was like, try doing intermittent fasting. and have like 2 meals a day and think about having like loads of veggies and stuff to keep you full. And I was like, yeah, it might be a bit boring, might be a bit bland, but if you're doing it for a quick result, for a temporary thing, then fair play to you. But it is hard to avoid those kind of magic elixirs, Dumbo's feather, where it's like, oh, this will bring you all of your hopes and dreams, and it's easy to fall into with the amount of books and stuff there are. Like, I got a picture from a client where he sent a picture of his library to me. It's like 5 photos from the nutrition section. It was just horrific shit. It was like, if you followed all of those books, then actually you would not be able to eat anything.
Yeah. There's just so much out there that you just like, for flip's sake, just like stop. Even today, I got really annoyed, and then I had to like tell myself to get off my phone. I don't know if you saw Dr. Mike posted that tweet from that woman. Did you see it?
Oh, about like when you hire a personal trainer, asking them their body fat percentage and their thing.
Yeah, if you hire a nutritionist, the first 2 questions you should ask them is what's their body fat percentage, and
I shared it on my story.
Training.
So stupid.
And she's a low carb mentor.
What the fuck does that mean?
What the fuck does that mean? Yeah, like low carb mentor. But this is the thing.
Sounds like you're have a shit life mentor.
Yeah, but people will see that Twitter thing and be like, oh, okay, yeah, and then if one thing clicks with them from her, then they'll start following everything that she says, and then that's how you get into the rabbit holes, isn't it? Of like, well, she said it, so it must be true because I trust her now.
Mm-hmm. Mate, don't get me started on body fat percentages and all that tripe.
Yeah.
What a bunch of wank. But and it leads us well actually into the whole sabotage mode mindset, which we were going to talk more about today, and that there's that search for perfection almost, isn't there, of ideals that we don't need to or can't live up to. Like, the reason why people sabotage is because they say, right, I'm not going to eat X food, or I am now low carb, or I am paleo, or I am fasting, or I am counting calories, or I am I'm being healthier, therefore I'm being good, so I can't have bad food. And as soon as you add these labels or these external controls, it becomes much, much easier for you to sabotage, because you're trying to live up to an ideal that you don't need to and or can't stick to because you don't want to, which is fair enough. And then when you do have those foods, you feel bad. So you enter the mindset of, oh, well, I've ruined it now. I may as well carry on.
Yeah, sabotage wrapped up in a bow, isn't it?
And it's really hard because we then get into these horrific cycles of, we add the external control, we don't live up to these expectations because we don't want to effectively, but we think that we need to.
Yeah.
We sabotage, we feel bad, sabotage some more, and then we go in that cycle of, well, I just need to try harder, need to restrict more.
Yeah, what's wrong with me? That kind of thing, isn't it?
You got to want it more. No pain, no gain.
Yeah.
Hashtag just try harder. Hashtag just be more committed. The only thing you need to be lean is to track all your calories, eat 400 grams of protein a day, do 5,000 million steps, several hours of meditation. Look at me, I can do it. It's easy, says 25-year-old personal trainer.
Yeah, with no commitments in life.
Yeah.
Apart from Instagram. It's hard, isn't it? Like, and people only do it because they want to be better. They want to look better. They want to have a healthy relationship with food, but maybe just don't know how to do it. And that kind of it's that failure thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They think they're a failure because they can't stick to something.
Yes, there's two key things. It's one, it's setting that external control, which then applies some rigidity.
Yeah.
And having that requires us to we rebel against it, because imagine a life where you're never ever allowed to have pizza again, or to eat ice cream again, or to have a beer again, or to, low carb mentor. Oh fuck, so I can't have a bit of bread. Fuck off. Like, I'm not living a short life, because even if you do live 80, 90 years, like, your time on this planet is limited.
Yeah.
All right, and life is too short for you to not eat bread because some fuck nugget on the internet has told you not to. Yeah. Fuck off. Like, I'm gonna eat bread, but if you tell yourself that you can't have it, you will want it more. That is the plain and simple of it, right? This is where the intuitive eating framework of give yourself unconditional permission to eat anything comes from. It's not that you're giving yourself permission to eat everything. It's that you're not banning yourself of a certain food, because once you've got unconditional permission to eat, you can then apply the framework of what your goals and values are, the context of the situation, and you can make a decision to put the food in your mouth that you fucking want to, right? But if you don't, and you have what you've banned, you feel stuck, you'll want the food more, you'll inevitably have the food, and then there's the lack of self-compassion, which causes the sabotage mode, because you're like, for fuck's sake, why have I done this? I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to eat healthier. I've messed it up again. Why am I such a fat piece of shit? I'll continue eating now because, might as well enjoy it. Might as well get all the bad food out of the house because I've got no willpower.
Yeah.
And then I'll start again on Monday.
Yeah. It's that when you said rigid, it reminded me of the perfectionism type thing, isn't it? It's like,
it is.
You have to be perfect. I had the email from a client yesterday who was like, my breakfast and lunch were perfect, and then I got to dinner and fucked it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, stop saying things are perfect.
What does that mean?
Yeah, because you put yourself on such a high pedestal then of like, oh yeah, I was perfect this morning. I was perfect for lunch. And then maybe I had some, I think they had some extra something at dinner, and was like, and then I just thought, well, I've had that now, so I might as well have like more beers and more crisps and da. And it's like, it's because you're putting you're trying to be perfect. Like, just try to be good enough, like, rather than being perfect, right?
What does perfect mean?
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's the context of the situation and the
like
goals
you said,
you have.
But it's like this thing of where you're like, you got to track all your calories. You got to do 10,000 steps. You got to do a workout every day for 45 minutes. You got to do this. Like, you're trying to set perfect targets, and then if you fall off of one of those, it just derails everything. That's why I like to set flexible targets with people, and also just say, if you don't hit those targets, it's okay. Like, it's not, you haven't failed anything. And as soon as you think that you have, you're gonna sabotage. Just like, it's like basic psychology for all of us, really.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just the way we're programmed, isn't it? It's like you said, like, if you ban something, you want it more.
Yeah.
Like, don't push the red button.
No, yeah.
Push the red button, right?
It's that meme, like.
Yeah, but it's true. If you're in a room and the only thing that's in there is that red button, and it says "Don't push this button," so how many thoughts are going through your head at that point? And you're probably going to, even if you manage not to push it, you're still going to be thinking constantly about it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing with food as well, right? Like, if you ban foods, you're going to be constantly thinking about them because you can't have them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What a shit way to live.
What a shit life, mate. What a shit life. Like, honestly, like, when you start banning yourself of certain foods, just life's just miserable. And that's why you rebel, because you're actually like, well, I want this food. Like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
And it is the perfectionism, and we all suffer from it in different walks of life. There's like perfectionism and imposter syndrome, and it comes from a lack of self-compassion. It comes from a lack of common humanity and a lack of mindfulness. It's not realizing that everybody has the same cravings. Everybody is human, and everybody therefore wants to have ice cream, wants to have a beer, wants to have there are some people that are genuinely like, I just stopped eating sweets and I never wanted them ever again. It's like, okay, well, good for you, but I like pick and mix, so fuck off. And because we lack that self-compassion, we think that everybody else is doing better than we are. We think that everybody else is eating better than we are. We then struggle with this sabotage mindset.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why can't I live up to this standard that I think that I should be hitting? And it comes from the whole, what I eat in a day. look, I'm having a tuna salad with homemade croutons. It's like, well, I just want a bowl of cereal, love. So can you just fuck off?
Yeah. There's nuance, isn't there? Like, you know, it's like you said, you have to align things with your values and your goals, right?
Yeah.
Like I know at the moment with me, because I'm working, like I've got like
Ooh.
I've got what's happened? Oh, you
Nothing.
pressed
I'm
on.
fucking playing around with logos and shit. Yeah.
I've got 7 gigs in 9 days, right? So that's a lot of gigs. It's a lot of me
Ooh,
driving,
you're hard.
right? Oh, gigs, oh, big friends. But yeah, 7 gigs in 9 days means that I'm going to be doing loads of driving. I'm going to be getting home super late, like most evenings, and then getting up early again.
Mm.
And that just makes me want to eat everything and anything, because I know for me, when I'm tired, I want to eat more, especially high calorie dense foods. But I'm kind of saying to myself, well, okay, keep up with your exercise, because that's one thing that you can control. You can still exercise during the day, even if it's like just doing something, right?
Yep.
I know I'm going to get my steps in anyway from gigging, so that's fine. But then food wise, I'm just making sure that when I get in from work at 1 a.m. and I'm starving because it's 1 a.m. and I haven't eaten since 8 o'clock, I'll just go to bed. Like I have to just go to bed.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I will eat everything and anything. But the only reason I'm doing that is because my goals at the moment are to keep my body weight down.
Mm-hmm.
But if I wasn't in that mode, I would still allow myself, you know, to eat anything and everything at like 1 a.m. And not because I'm trying to sabotage or because I'm, you know, like off the wagon or whatever, but just because I know I can do that. And it's like getting home 1 a.m. I know I can just have a cup of tea and like maybe have a biscuit. But I'm not saying to myself, you can't do that, Sean. You can't have a biscuit because you're just going to get fat, right? Because if I did that, then I would then sabotage, because I'm like hungry and tired. I go, right, I'm going to have the whole pack of biscuits now and then go to sleep like a moron because I'm full of sugar. And that would really affect my sleep. But now, now I can come home and just have a cup of tea and 1 or 2 biscuits, read some of my book, and then go to sleep. But I had to learn how to do that. I had to practice that. Do you know what I mean? And I had to have a talk with myself, like, you know, and say, no, Sean, you're not the kind of person that eats a whole packet of biscuits. Because that would be what I'd say before. I can't have one. I'm going to eat the whole pack.
Yeah.
That's the kind of person I am, right? So it just takes practice. It takes kind of, as you say, awareness, not trying to be perfect. Like, you know, I'm not going to lose loads of weight at the moment, but I can maintain.
Well, I mean, you know, you're saying I'm not going to lose weight loads at the moment because that's your previous experience of doing gigs at those times and having them sabotage your progress. Whereas actually, you could change that story as well.
Yeah.
It comes down to asking yourself those questions, why? Yeah. But, you know, you're understanding the context that you're in. I said the same thing to a client earlier today. I was like, look, if you're driving 2 hours to and from a job, spending 8 hours on the job, and then you're getting home and you've got chores and things to do around the house and gardening and stuff, like, you're not going to make it to the gym. And that's okay. So you shouldn't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah.
And just like you, Sean, like, okay, well, I'm not the person who has to eat a whole pack of biscuits. I'm changing that story. And I'm telling myself I can have 1 to 2 biscuits and go to bed.
Yeah.
And it's having that, again, it's the mindfulness in the present moment to change that story, apply some more positive self-talk and say, right, I don't need to sabotage myself. Like other coaches will say, I don't have the biscuits in the house. Like, well, there's a 24-hour one stop on the corner of my road. So if I wanted the fucking biscuits, I'm going to go and grab them. And actually, by keeping them out of the house, it reinforces that this is bad. Yeah. And therefore, I will eat the fucking whole lot. So they're out of the house. I won't do it again.
Yeah.
Previous events have proved you're a liar. So you tell that better story. And please don't watch me here, guys, and think that I'm a judgmental prick, because I'm really not. Like, I've been there. Johnny 2 lunch landals was my nickname at school. Fucking my mate's parents still joke about stocking up the biscuit drawer for when I come round their house and I'm 31 years old, and have much more self-control over these things now because I've worked on it. As you said, Sean, it's not an overnight fix, but it does come from the position of having unconditional permission to eat, understanding that your self-talk is your biggest proponent to your actions. Your thoughts become your reality, and then starting to realize that and put in place positive self-talk, put in place more self-compassion, which we have a webinar on upcoming, by the way, guys, which we'll talk about toward the end. But there was a question that was actually brought up in the Facebook group, and I don't think they're with us at the minute because they live in America, so it'd be very, very early in the morning for them. But it was a whole, what do you do if you find yourself sabotaging and you actually catch yourself in the moment and have the presence of mind to be like, oh fuck, like I'm sabotaging, notice and name it. Do you notice and name it to then stop, or do you carry on regardless, knowing that you're doing it? What would you say?
I would notice, I'd say notice and name, and then if the sabotage is that you're eating something, I'd then eat it slowly, enjoy it, and then see if you can stop. Like see what happens if you stop, and see if you think, like, ask yourself some questions like, right, am I hungry, or am I full now? Is this enough? Because this, I've been thinking a lot recently about emotional eating, and that I actually think it should be termed emotional overeating.
Yeah.
Rather than emotional eating, because I think actually emotional eating isn't that bad. Like, because we do eat in emotional things, right? Like celebrations, and like, it's okay if you're sad to eat a little bit of chocolate if that makes you feel a little bit better, right? Like that kind of and it's actually emotional overeating that is the issue that most people struggle with, is because they feel the emotion and they eat, but they can't stop eating. Until they feel better. If you can actually flip that around and say, okay, so I'm feeling a bit sad, I'm gonna have a little bit of chocolate, just because it comforts me, and that's actually okay. So yeah, I'm sorry, that was like I digressed a little bit. But,
No, at all.
You know what I mean? Like the sabotage thing is like overeating rather than just.
That's the solid clarification, because it's the whole like, emotional eating is normal and is human and is fine when it's done with conscious choice.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Normal eating is deciding whether or not to indulge in a craving because you know why you're doing it. Whereas sabotage mode is usually a compulsive overeating episode that's done not always in full knowledge, because but it is, you're like, all right, well, fuck it, I've ruined it now. And if you do have then the mindfulness to sort of catch yourself in the moment and stop and pause, it is totally your decision whether you continue with that moment or not. But from the question, how the question was worded, I would assume that the person is talking about catching himself in the moment and thinking, yeah, okay, actually this isn't what I should be doing, because this is sabotage mode and I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and there's no need for me to be doing this. So you do need to then ask yourself the question, okay, why has this happened? What are the thoughts that led me to here? What events have happened earlier? Because the emotional overeating at the end of the day is usually the final stage of a long chain of events. Maybe someone was a dickhead to you at work, and then someone else disrespected you somewhere else, and then some plans got changed or cancelled, and then something else happened, and then you got stuck in traffic, and and then you burnt the dinner, and then at the end you're just like, oh fuck this, like what a fucking crap day, I'm just gonna go off on one. And then if you catch yourself in the moment of there, you can actually say, okay, I know that I'm doing this because of these events, and this food in this moment isn't going to help me feel better, it's actually going to help me feel worse. And you've got to then have a bit of a self-care toolbox, really, to think about, well, what will make you feel better? Will it be journaling? Will it be reading? Will it be watching some, like a sitcom or something, or going for a walk, or calling a mate, or talking to someone in person? We scroll our phones hoping for this fucking human connection. Just, ring someone.
I think if you do catch yourself as well, like, I think that it's good to have things like your values and goals written down somewhere that you can relate back to and think, well, is this going to help me towards that or not? And obviously, emotional overeating is not going to help you at that point. But just the act of becoming aware, and then writing it down, and then, as you say, having things in place to help with your self-care. That's it. Yeah, I mean,
100.
Maybe stop. Yeah,
100%. I think that is great information.
I think so.
For a Friday lunch and learn. So I think what we'll do, guys, is we'll leave it there. But if we have touched a button and you guys are thinking, oh, these guys know what they're on about, then I would, thank you for your kind words. And I would say that everything we've spoken about there comes down to self-compassion and positive self-talk. And it sounds a little bit airy-fairy, sounds a bit woo, but lots and lots of research is there to support the act of self-kindness. And it's not about being overly positive for the sake of it. It's about talking to yourself as you would a mate and not being a dick head to yourself. And we have an upcoming webinar early next month, Tuesday, the 3rd of August. I'd like to say at 7 p.m, Sean, myself, and another leading nutritionist in the space is running a 90-minute webinar where we will be going through what the ins and outs of self-compassion, and we'll be helping you overcome sabotage mode, perfectionism, all or nothing syndrome, and all of the other mindsets that are holding you back from living a life that's true to your values and your goals, and helping nutrition and fitness fit into them rather than trying to live up to ideals that don't fit your way of life. So we would love to have you there. I'm going to drop a link in the comment section of this video for you to sign up to our pre-sale list, where you will be able to get, I think it's like 20% off the ticket price. And you'll also get some bonuses, which include the NSN naked calendar. ebooks, and talks with the coaches as well, which, are pretty valuable stuff. So hopefully you can join us then.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we'll see you next Friday for another lunch and learn. And thanks, Natalie. Glad you liked it. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good Friday.
Take care, guys.
I'm off to have a beer.
Bye.